Well, my name is George Lewis, and I'm a professor of music at University of California in San Diego, UCSD, up the road there. And we have come to talk to you today about, really about where music comes from. Now, assuming that the stork doesn't bring it, then we've got to think about where it comes from. And I've brought a couple of my colleagues from UCSD to talk with you about that. This is Dr. Chinary Ung, who is a composer and professor of music at UCSD, and is an award-winning composer whose music is revered around the world. And this is his wife, Dr. Susan Ung, who is a violinist and violist, and also a very dramatically successful performer of world music. And we're going to talk to you today about performance, composition, and the world of sound and the relationship between sound and the environment. So what do you think? All right. So I wanted to ask you first, Dr. Ung, what do composers do?
What I can say, what I can do when I'm being asked to write a piece of music, I just begin to think and spend days after days, dream about it and think about it, and start with ground zero. Ground zero, I mean, look at these blank pages, okay, and finally, slowly, little by little, there's some notation such as this. Okay, so that's what one of the things that a composer would do. Yeah.
How did you start to do this? I mean, how does one become a composer?
Oh, well, that's a kind of long story. Let me explain in a personal way. When I was around elementary school, around that time, and my brother and I, each evening before we went to sleep, we sort of lie in the bed together and then try to sing, make some tune, and banging the on the bed, and it's really worked out so well. But then all of a sudden we stopped and said, "Gee, you know, there must be somewhere in some other country, people probably invented music notation or something like that." And so that was the beginning. That was the notion. That was the beginning of wanting to notate, to be able to notate what you're hearing.
You need to write down what you're hearing.
Write down what you're hearing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, where were you doing this?
In Cambodia. That was probably in the 50s. That's a long time ago.
One thing about Cambodian music, mm-hmm. You told me once that the idea of a composer, well, is there a composer in Cambodian music?
In our tradition in Cambodia, there is no distinction between composing and performing. So if you perform an instrument, in a sense, you are a composer as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's unusual, because here, it seems to me, have any of you composed music yourselves? Oh, I see somebody who might. No? Not anybody? Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I kind of composed this kind of fast piece, but it didn't turn out so good. But
oh, well, maybe Dr. Ung can help you. Susan, let me ask you a question. Now, you brought your viola, and you also brought this instrument, which I really don't know about. Could you talk about this instrument?
Well, this instrument you can find it all over Asia, actually. This particular body is Chinese. The Cambodian ones tend to be made out of coconut shells or something round. The bow, actually, though, was made by a Cambodian maker. So it's kind of a Cambodian bow with a Chinese instrument. It's sort of a combination. But I bought this instrument in Hong Kong when I went there in 1978. I was in a group in college that played Chinese traditional music. And we got to tour Hong Kong and Taiwan and play for the Chinese, and they thought that was pretty interesting, seeing all these kids from Indiana play their music.
I think that might be exciting to see, even at the moment. Could you show us a little bit of how this music sounds?
I can give you a little idea.
What is it called?
The Chinese instrument is called erhu, and let's see, it basically means two-stringed fiddle. Yeah. And the story goes, I think it might be a folktale, but it's an interesting story. The story is that the Mongols, when they were riding around China on their horses, needed an instrument where they wouldn't lose their bow. See, the bow is through the strings. It's in between them.
It's stuck in there, and you,
Yes.
and you can't get it out?
Well, if you take the strings off, you can get it out. Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So, and then you hold it on your lap like this. And to play the upper string, you press forward, and to play the lower string, you press towards you. So, and there's no fingerboard, so you just slide around on the strings. So you get a sort of an idea. And of course, Chinary can play this instrument. It's in his country as well, and it's he plays it a very different way.
Oh.
What Susan did to use the fingertip here. The Southeast Asian would use this.
The knuckles,
yeah,
the inside of the
the
knuckles.
inside of the knuckle. Yeah. So let's see. See, it's a different technique and a different sound quality also. Yeah.
Now, you were saying that the name of this instrument means basically two-stringed fiddle. And you were also telling me that now, to go to Dr. Ung's piece, there's this. The name of this piece also has a similar, very interesting meaning. What is this? What does this mean?
Sabun means four strings. So
Literally, strings four. You know, this is the closest way to describe a viola in Cambodian. And so the piece is four-stringed fiddle piece.
So this is the four-string fiddle
Right.
that you're using to play this, and what does all this mean? This is a score, right? This is the music that you wrote, Chinary.
right. So my way of approaching this piece is to use what we call it a spatial notation, meaning, let's say you have. Ta 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 pa pa ta 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 vida ti ti ti. You see, it's visually grounded in that, and you all are familiar with crescendo, make it louder, and so forth.
Let me just say, do you guys understand what that means?
No.
This one.
Isn't that kind of unusual for a viola to have two staves at the same time? I mean, a piano, maybe you'd have left hand and right hand, right? It's kind of unusual to have two. The reason we did that is because this is an open string that's sounding while something else is going on above it. Okay? So I have actually two lines. See the music anymore, but you see, that's why we have two lines there. And then other times it happens, there's a drone here.
Now a drone. What's a drone?
A drone would be one note that's continuing to go on while something else is happening at the same time.
Oh, a drone. And so, what do these sounds? Do they mean certain things, or do they relate to certain ideas about sound or about environments or?
Right. During that time when I was about to construct the piece, I was very much wanted to look for a particular voice or style of writing. So I began to do some study, and so like Cambodian, Southeast Asian string playing, the Japanese koto, the Chinese sing, and the oud from Iran, you know, I mean it all over Asia, as you can imagine. So the whole thing started from try to figure out your own voice. On the top of that, every Monday we join an improvisational group, so that we, frankly, personally, I want to undo what I have learned after I received my doctoral degree from Columbia University. I want to undo everything. I want to start it all over again. And I still believe that that was the right way to spend 2 years with an improvisational group. And that was the first piece that grew out from this kind of direction.
So this piece has some relationship to improvisation?
Yes, very much so. Very much so, because there is no steady beat like bam, tan, 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 pam, 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 pam. So that's very steady, okay? But this one doesn't have it. Susan played this way, and someone else might take something longer, or softer, or louder, or much more assertive, or much more expressive, and individual personality, it depends on your personality. You can actually add another angle to be part of the composer's idea.
Improvisation consists of using your own creativity to create music without necessarily referring to anything that's written out beforehand. In other words, you sort of bring music out of yourself in a very spontaneous way, but at the same time, based on things that you've learned in your history, your own experience, and your cultural background. So that in principle, anyone can do it, just as really in principle, any one of you can learn to compose, as you did and as others of you have done. So that the interesting thing about this piece is that it represents a kind of a mix of the two in a very interesting way. And maybe it'd be best if we could hear some of this piece.
Yeah.
Could you show us kind of where we are in this piece?
Sure,
sometimes? Because
I can do that.
It might be
yeah.
hard for us to follow
Right.
at times.
Okay.
Okay.
So it starts over there?
Sure.
Oh, mhm. Does anyone want to tell me how that sounded to them, or what you thought about it?
It feels like you're in a dream. Sound effects.
Yeah, that's good, because that's sort of how I'd like it to come across.
Well, what did you think about it?
Thought it was good.
I liked it.
So they're unusual sounds, but they're not that far out. I mean, they're things that we can let our ears let in, I think. So, what I like about it is pieces like this is that every time you play it, you can do it a little differently.
Yeah.
You know.
Does it sound like the sort of thing that you were composing? A little bit?
Well, kind of, with the high parts.
Now you see, this is exactly what the kind of thing that you could lie awake or maybe even a dream and hear these sounds and write them down. And basically, when you do that, you're composing. And if you don't write them down, you're improvising. And both of those things can work. But you know, a lot of these sounds seem to have a relationship to something I'm going to call the soundscape. You know about landscapes, right? Everybody knows about that. Well, what might a soundscape be? Well, the soundscape is kind of the sounds that we hear in our environment, the sounds that we hear all around us. And everyone has a certain soundscape. If you go into your house and you're quiet, after a while you'll hear a bird, or maybe depending upon where you live, you'll hear a truck, or maybe someone will be yelling, or someone will have a boom box, or a dog. And all those things are part of the soundscape, and every soundscape is different. So that when you leave this room, you'll be in a different soundscape than the one that you left. And a lot of times, those sounds can be described spatially. Like you were talking about spatial notation. Well, that just means using space and making a relationship between the vision and the sound. And this piece really, in a way, is like, it's like you drew these sounds. But I think it might be possible for any of us to draw sounds. I don't,
Definitely.
what do you what
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely. You can do it in abstract sense, or if you want precision, if you sing it and you test it out, see whether or not you get the right pitches and so forth. So there are all sort of strategies here.
Well, one strategy that we could try maybe is we could just draw some sounds and
Sure.
and then we could try to sing them.
Yeah. Let me start with Susan first.
Okay.
A very simple thing. Incidentally, the idea that I have in the construction of some of the phrases in Ksai here, I imagine a snake. So you have.
Erase my thing.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you have a snake. Okay, so I divided. This is the head. This is the body, right? And this is the tail. So there is a specific cutoff. Could you try the tail a little bit? So let me see if you can find some tail here, the snake.
Here's one.
Yeah, okay. Okay, let me just briefly I'll start
guys
from
all see
here.
that? Let me
This
get
is the head. This is the head. It's a kind of. Oh, by the way, I mean this snake actually have a double-headed snake. Okay, let me see this one. All right. Okay, let's start it from here. Okay. All right. Pipa. Okay. Okay. Listen to this one. Okay, and you have all the variety of snake.
So is this a head right here?
Yeah, it's a short snake. So. I mean, so you can cook up all things. You can cook up. Okay, is it a very aggressive, very poisonous snake? And then the body is waving like this, and then cut it off. Okay, or gentle. Okay, garden snake or whatever. You can imagine that. Now let me try. Something spatial notation. Let's say that, okay, you are not interested at all about precise pitches at this moment, just want to try it out. And so you know this is what we call low and this is high. So you have, let me see, I'm just improvise now. I put a little tail a little bit for Susan to do. So, okay, I'm just cook up something. I'm going up here, somewhere here. Okay, let me see. Whatever. Okay, so you actually create another snake form. All right, let me see what you can do.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so one of you want to come step forward and see what you can do? See?
I know who wants to do it.
We have a very fine musician here.
Come on, you got this wonderful
you just-
musician here.
you just
She's
draw
got to play your
something.
music.
Yeah, you just draw something. In fact, you can close your eye and blindfold it and think. Okay, all right, come.
Who said they wanted to do it?
Yeah, come over.
Anybody wants to come up?
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
you go ahead. There
All
you
right.
go.
You have you have the dot or the whole note and so forth. That's long, okay, and you can say that this is from here to here 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or something like that. Yeah, just sort of spatial writing or anything you can come up with.
Do whatever. You don't have to do what he did. You can
Yeah.
do something different
Yeah.
too.
Okay. Very good.
It looks like the canyons around here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Any other
Okay.
directions along the route? Do you want to do anything else? I mean, I got a lot of freedom here.
Like what's you put?
Oh, I think we can try this much first. Okay.
It's
Let's
up
see what
to you.
happens. Okay. Thanks.
Let's just
okay.
see. Now,
Let's see.
okay, now let's see how
This
this
is
works.
less instruction.
Now,
yeah.
this is, what's your name?
Benjamin?
What?
Benjamin?
Benjamin. Now,
Okay.
this is Benjamin's composition here.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay, now let me see. That's the lowest point.
Yeah, that's a low point. This is not really a snake. This is a dragon. It's much larger now. It's big and longer.
Well, what do you
It's a
think?
smooth
What do you
one.
think it is?
Dragon.
Yeah.
Dragon?
See?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna play with it a little bit. All right. See what I can do with it. Let's see.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And another experimentation which probably you have done already, don't try to get in tune with it. Each person just think, each one of you just think one, sing one note, okay? And then sort of follow me, okay? You just sing sustain one note, like or whatever, okay? Let's start it together, all right? Okay. When you hit
Now I see.
high or
Everybody
low
has to
or
sing.
whatever you pick, some of you should pick some high notes, but don't try to create chords. Okay? Now. Very good. So now we're going to split with group 2 like this. We did 1 to 2. I'm going to raise up and down as you sustain note. Follow the dragon notation, right? And I'm going to do this too with you. Okay? You can slide up and slide down. Okay? All right. Start with you first. Louder, louder. Open it. Don't hum. Open your mouth. Okay? Oh. Okay, all right. See? All right, okay. And so anything that you, any ink or any dot and dash and all that you drop in those blank pages, that represent represent a symbol, certain symbol that transfer or communicate to a performer such as Susan, and Susan tried to figure out what you want, you see.
So all of the music that you all play actually kind of looks like this. And you could kind of take that music and just sort of go, well, we've got some shapes that it all looks like shapes, and it all deals with the relationship between shapes and sounds. Well, you know, I don't know, do people have anything they want to ask us, or any questions about, yes?
I just have a question. What kind of clef is that on that piece over there?
Oh, it's alto clef. It's another way of writing alto clef. Viola plays most of the time it's called C clef. So, just a quick explanation here. Middle C for us is here, right?
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there are different ways to write the clef. I mean, some people do this, and you know. So what's another way? I don't know, but that's usually the way. You see it in printed music. The dots are here for the middle line for middle C.
So does anybody here read or use the alto or tenor clef for their music? Normally treble clef?
Yeah.
And for the trombone players, bass clef.
Clef and also tenor clef, fourth line, right?
Oh, you guys use
Sometime-
tenor clef?
Tenor clef, fourth line,
Nah.
sometime when you get pretty high.
Yeah, later. It'll
Later.
come. It'll come.
Right.
You'll get it. It'll be a real awakening for you. Are there other questions? Anyone? Yes?
Yes.
How long did it take you for that? How long did it take you to learn that?
How long did it take you to learn how to play the viola?
Play the viola?
Play
Well,
the viola.
let's see. You know, when I was in, I think, 8th grade, I got a little introduction to violin in school. And then we moved, and I didn't have violin for a while. And then in high school somewhere, I think the 3rd year or so, I picked up the violin again. And then for a little while, I had private lessons. And then by the time I finished high school, I still wasn't sure if I wanted to be an artist or a musician. But I decided to take lessons in college, and then I just got really serious about it, and I practiced really hard and tried to catch up with all the people who had played for 20 years already. And so what I can say is it's never too late, you know. If you really love to do something and you work hard at it, you can get good at it.
Well, you know, we have to go, even though I know there are a lot of other questions. I'm really sorry, because I'm very excited to have Chinary Ung and Susan Ung here, and could we all welcome them and thank them for